Alright, it's that time of year again. Yes, I didn't do one of these last year because I was like, I didn't watch enough movies. And now I feel like I've watched just as many films this year as I did last year. But I want to do this. But I will say I have full reviews on all the movies on this list, so if you want to see my more in-depth thoughts, you can go check out those reviews. This video is going to be my quick thoughts on these movies because you don't want to be here forever. You got better things to do. I feel like this is the part where I'm supposed to be like, oh, film is subjective, these are just my opinions, they're not going to be your opinions, blah, blah, blah. But you know that. You know that. So I'm going to finish off this intro by saying if you wanted a video that shows what my casual ass liked this year, well, you've come to the right place. Now for the intro bullshit, let's get this party started. These are my top 10 favorite movies of the year, 2021. Number 10. Starting off this list is a movie that on any other year, maybe wouldn't have made the list, but this is 2021, my friends, so Free Guy is on the list. Free Guy, simply put, is a better Matrix Resurrections movie than The Matrix Resurrections. Ryan Reynolds being his basic Ryan Reynolds character, absolutely, but it had likable characters you get behind. Not only does it ask questions about consciousness and intelligence, artificial or otherwise, but it also addresses a lot of the shitty marketing tactics that we see a lot of video game companies use these days. Free Guy is one of those movies that had no business being as good as it was, but it was a damn good time. Number 9. Next up, I am an Edgar Wright fan. I generally enjoy what he does, such is the case with Last Night in Soho. Simply put, Last Night in Soho was a unique experience. It was a lot that worked. It was part crime drama, part mystery, part horror, part thriller. Just cracked my knuckle. Don't know if you heard that. Interesting premise, and there was a point in this movie I was like, is this movie gonna have payoff? And it did. Strong performances, some curveballs throughout, kept me guessing. This is one of those movies that shows the range of Edgar Wright's filmmaking. It was unique. I can't say I had another experience this year like Last Night in Soho. Number 8. Next up, King Richard. If there was a movie that was created and fashioned with heart, I would say it was King Richard. Will Smith was getting a lot of the Oscar chatter when this movie came out. There are about 4 people in this movie I feel should have that same chatter. But most importantly, it was a good family story. You know, it's the story of Venus and Serena Williams, but the family dynamic that made these tennis legends. You really get the feeling that they love their father, they love their mother, they love their family, and they wanted to give them the shine. And that warms my heart, it really does. If there is a movie this year where people are like, oh, I'm looking for a feel-good family movie, I always point to King Richard. Number 7. All right, getting into that territory of didn't know what to expect from this movie and was really pleasantly surprised. Cop Shop. Cop Shop was just a damn good time. Doesn't hurt that I didn't watch the trailer. I had no idea what to expect from this movie, but turns out it was a kick-ass good time. Great performances all around. Gerard Butler and Frank Grillo, they were having a blast with the movie. And not in that, well, they were having fun, but the movie sucked kind of way. No, I felt the movie was a damn good time. I have a soft spot for those movies that take place in one location and people are trying to get in there and kill people. Very Assault on Precinct 13, if it felt like Assault on Precinct 13 was adapted from a graphic novel. Kick-ass good time, and huge surprise this year, Cop Shop. Number 6. Speaking of kick-ass surprise, Nobody, also on this list. Nobody is John Wick if John Wick were more grounded in reality, you know, more vulnerable, more human per se. But also, as much as I use John Wick as a comparison springboard to describe to people what Nobody is, it's not a John Wick ripoff. In a world where John Wick and The Equalizer came before Nobody, Nobody still feels like its own thing. It feels unique. Bob Odenkirk has great timing, whether it be dramatic, whether it be comedic, and also apparently kick-ass. I thought it was a good telling of that guy. He's a normal guy. He's a neighborhood guy. You know, the white picket fence, the sprinkler that's that kind of life. Also, he has a past and he will wreck your shit. I enjoyed the hell out of Nobody. What can I say? From the moment I got out of this movie, I was like, that's a good shot at being on the top 10. And here it is. Number 5. Next up, Val. It feels a little weird having Val this low on the list when it was one of my, 2 Awesome-taculars this year. My ratings are jokes, don't get hung up on them. You know that by now, but here Val is. And it was inevitable that a movie like Val would eventually happen one day, but it would take all the stars to align. You needed an actor who would become a well-known actor that through the course of his career filmed his life and his career behind the scenes with a camcorder in an age where not a lot of people had camcorders. And then you needed someone to cut that footage together and make a documentary, if not a documentary, just his life through his eyes kind of scenario. And here we are, we have Val. It's a great look at the fact that no matter who the celebrity is, actor, director, YouTube personality, Instagram personality, whoever they are, they're still human, you know? This is a very human look. There are a lot of actors out there with YouTube channels, but the fact that YouTube is a thing and they got on YouTube after YouTube was a thing, it leaves you feeling, well, is this real? Is this really them? The fact that all this footage of Val Kilmer was filmed before there was a YouTube, just made for his own personal archives, has that feeling of, this is the guy. I dug it.
Number 4.
Next up, Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, 90s Spider-Man kid, you know, that Spider-Man animation in the 90s. Loved it. Spider-Man No Way Home is a celebration of Spider-Man to me, and it's fan service done right. It's fan service that works with the characters, with the plots, woven into the narrative, is not just blatant for the sake of member berries. There's a reason this movie's made over $1 billion now. It's hitting Spider-Man fans on a deeper level than just the superficial fan service level. It's also a hard lesson for Hollywood, that's for sure. It's one of those if you build it, they will come kind of scenarios. And I had a great time with this movie. It was more than what I hoped it could have been.
Number 3.
All right, we're getting into the top 3 now. Look at this. Is Dune on the list? Yeah. As I was shuffling this list around, everything within the top 5 was number 1 at some point, just to see how it looked, how it felt. And Dune was there. And if Dune was a complete movie, it probably would have been number 1. But it's not a complete movie. It's 1/3 of a movie. Not in that Fellowship of the Ring kind of way. We're talking like 1/3 of Fellowship of the Ring kind of way. But as it stands, I walked out of Dune going, okay, Denis Villeneuve, he gets it. I love the world. I love the craftsmanship. I love what he's building. I have nothing but hope for the next Dune. Having 1/3 of a movie on this list, on the top 10, just shows that optimism is still alive in this dark heart of mine. It was a visual opera, a visual epic, and I'm salivating for that time in the future where I have the entirety of Denis Villeneuve's Dune, all 6 hours or whatever it's going to be, and I just sit there and I just kind of don't move.
Number 2.
Next up, The Green Knight. Green Knight is a little more pretentious than I usually have on my list, but damn if I didn't dig this movie. Green Knight is a character odyssey, a character quest. It's a fantasy story with very down-to-earth fantasy elements. But man, did this movie stick the landing with that last montage leading up to the ending. Is there a beat-off scarf? Yeah, we all have at least one. This movie was pure fantasy craftsmanship. From the moment I saw it to now, it remained high on my list. I suggest anyone watch this movie, at least once. It's worth a watch.
Number 1.
And this is number 1. In this past year, 2021, there was one movie in which I was able to watch it back to back, twice in one weekend. All 4 hours, both times, locked in, never got bored, neither did my family. Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's a movie that really worked for me. That's the best time I had in a movie this year. Part of that is the fact that I appreciate that it even happened, absolutely. But this movie validated the Zack Snyder vision. It's one of those things where Zack Snyder showed the world, yeah, when studios stay out of it and I'm just able to do my thing, maybe I can make a pretty solid Justice League universe. And that was great, because I doubted the shit out of the guy. I was like, does this guy know what he's doing? Now I feel bad for thinking that. I want to see the Snyderverse go on. I want to see the next chapter. Will that happen? I don't know. But damn, I really want it. The fact that I want to see the Snyderverse continue after watching this movie shows what it did for my perception of the DC universe. This may be surprising for some, but the reasons are actually very simple. And it just comes down to enjoyment, how long I can engage with a movie and not get bored. There are very few movies in existence in the history of cinema in which I can put in, engage for 4 hours, and not get bored at all. Zack Snyder's Justice League is one of those movies, one of the few, of the couple. And I can't say that about any other movie on this list, and that's why Zack Snyder's Justice League remains my favorite movie-going experience of 2021. And that is all beside the fact that not having Zack Snyder's Justice League on this list would in fact be an injustice. So there you go. Those are my top 10 favorite movies of the year 2021 that I personally watched. I get it. There are a lot of movies I didn't watch, and nothing will change that. It's the way it is every year. But I'm only one person in this big playground known as the YouTubes, the internets. I know you got your list too. So how about you? What are your top 10 favorite movies of the year 2021? Whatever they are, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.